Over the years, I've played many games, and I have discovered something. The best experiences tend to be the ones that barely anyone else knows about. This is especially true in today's gaming environment, where it seems every other AAA release is a broken piece of shit on launch. The opposite can be said about indie games, although I'm sure this is a well-known fact by now. Today, I will be sharing with you 5 of my favorite indie games that are relatively unknown within the general gaming scene. And when I say indie, I don't mean like the Undertale level of indie. No, I'm talking like Kenshi levels. Yeah, we're going that far. Sort of. Music? I like it a little bit. Video games? I like those too. Put them together and whoa, we got something here. This is the core idea of the rhythm game genre. Muse Dash. Oh wait, hold on. Much better. Muse Dash is what we call a rhythm game, which is really just another way of saying carpal tunnel generator. But Muse Dash does something a little different than most rhythm games. It lets you play as anime girl cats. In most other rhythm games, you move the cursor or have some sort of directional input along with 1 or 2 keys. Muse Dash says, and gets rid of the directional input in favor of nothing. You just press 2 buttons. Now, you may think that this makes the game simple. You would be partially correct. The difficulty comes from how the notes are laid out. There will be many times when simply pressing the singular key for the top or bottom lane will not be enough, so you may also have to press the secondary input. Allow me to explain. In Muse Dash, notes will come to you from 2 lanes, the top and the bottom. To hit a note in the bottom row, you press J, and to hit a note in the top row, you press F. But as I said earlier, there are many times when just pressing the 1 key is not enough, so the developers made it so K is also used for the bottom row, and D is used for the top row. You'll want to know this for when a mini-boss enemy appears on screen, as you'll be able to get a lot more hits in while mashing with all 4 keys than if you'd done it with just 2. Another unique thing this game does is it has boss enemies. They don't really make much of a difference though, because they just throw projectiles at you that look different than the normal ones. Functionally, these projectiles are the same as the normal enemies. As you play Muse Dash, you'll soon discover there are different characters to play as. Each one does something different, some being better than others. For example, this one makes it so 5 notes you hit that get the great ranking will instead be turned into a perfect. This one plays the game for you. This one makes the game nearly impossible because every second you drain 2 health. Yeah. So how do you mitigate such an objectively shit mechanic? Well, you equip the right elfin, of course. These squishy little bastards will give a bonus effect and can either enhance your game or make absolutely no change at all. Really, the one with the most value is the little demon one because it makes it so when you play as Little Devil Maria, you heal for every perfect note you hit. Doesn't stop her from inevitably dying in any song though. Fuck you. OMG, is that Reimu from that one game that people buy the stupid plushes from? And the other one too. Wow, this game really does have it all. This is another outlier from the rest of my Steam library. Going Medieval is the only colony sim game that I've ever shown interest in, and to tell you the truth, I have absolutely no idea why. The best way I can describe this is if the Sims had actual consequences. In this game, you'll choose your starting scenario and settlers, and then you are thrust into the world. I most often choose the Valley world type because it's the most survivable. The difference between these world types is what resources you'll find. So in a valley, you'll have lots of plants to harvest and begin farming, lots of wood, but not very many minerals. Mountains are the opposite, with lots of minerals, but not much of anything else, and hills aren't in between. This might make mountains sound like a very unintelligent choice, but it can be good because of trading. There is an entire bartering system where items all have a specific value, and the idea is that when you trade with someone, you both get things of the same or very similar value. The best thing to do is always give a little more than you take, as this is viewed as a gift and will give positive influence to that settlement. The reason you want positive influence is because you can make enemies as well, and it's always better to have more friends than enemies. This game also has combat, which is where those consequences I mentioned come in. You have to find a balance between advancing your settlement, training your settlers, and trading with other settlements. The worst thing to neglect is the defenses of your settlement and the training of your settlers. You can lose all of your people in an enemy raid, and that's it. Once they're all dead, the game is over and you have to start again. Do you like stealth games? Do you like Japan? Great, because Origami has got both of those covered. This is probably one of the coolest concepts for a game that I've played in a while. It's a stealth game that isn't annoying or boring. The primary mechanic of the game is that when you're in the darkness, you're, for all intents and purposes, invisible, and you can teleport to other dark areas when in this invisible state. This makes the game more enjoyable than other stealth games because it's not just where's the next cover spot, or where's the next corner to hide behind. It gives you more freedom because you're thinking of all those things, but also where's the next dark area? Is it close enough to teleport to? And so on. And if you really want to, you could just sprint to an enemy and kill them if you feel like sneaking is too slow. Even when you sprint, they're not likely to turn around from hearing you. Now you still need to be careful as you do die in one hit, but they do as well. The level designs are very pretty with an appealing art style, the music is nice all around, and surprisingly enough, this game has pretty decent boss fights. Of all the games in this video, this one is probably the one with the biggest following. This is primarily because it was originally a browser game on Newgrounds and got the funding to become a full-fledged game on Steam. Dead Estate is an isometric roguelike video game that draws inspiration mostly from the Resident Evil series. You start with two character options, Jeff and Jules, but eventually after doing certain tasks, you'll unlock many more to choose from. The basic plot is that Jules is hitchhiking and Jeff picks her up, but one of his tires pops and they run into some zombies. So to get to safety, they go inside the Resident Dead Estate. So the actual gameplay is pretty simple. For most characters, you'll start with a basic weapon with infinite ammo, and as you kill enemies, you'll get money. This money can be spent in the shop, which is run by I really thought there would be more. This fine lady runs all the shops in the game and will sell you items in normal stores, weapons in the weapon store, and stat boosts in the doctor's office. As you progress through the floors, you'll notice she gets in more interesting poses. Eventually, you come to the roof of the castle and face off against Chunks, Cordelia's pet hamster. This is how you get the normal ending for every character, because yes, there are different endings and different routes you can take. Eventually, you can unlock Cordelia as a playable character, and this changes the shopkeep to her mom. I think this is one of the best things to come out of Newgrounds recently. It's just a very simple yet enjoyable experience with tons of content to enjoy. Highly recommend you pick it up, and it's pretty cheap on Steam. The most niche game on this list, here we have Pumpkin Jack. It's a simple little 3D platform made by one developer and is simply a fun time. You play as the character the game is named after, Pumpkin Jack, and he has been instructed by the devil himself to kill this wizard who is questionably good. You'll go through several Halloween-themed levels, each feeling different than the last, and unlock an arsenal of weapons to use against any monsters that come in your way. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, and as a result, it's just a good time in general. Very good for if you want a low-stress experience while still getting something fulfilling. And that's it. 5 games I like a lot and I think you should play. Before you leave, I must ask that you like and subscribe. My family got mauled by a bear during a camping trip in Alaska, and the facial reconstruction surgeries are proving to be quite expensive. By liking and subscribing, you can help them recover and put my mind to rest.